So I bought this $30,000 drum of cable that wasn't approved, got to site, turns out we couldn't even install it. I had to send it back at a 50% restocking fee, so I lost the company $15,000. It's called Human Charger, so it's like earbuds that you put in your ear, and it emits light into the light receiving receptors in your brain.
Yeah, right.
So in the morning at work, like I'll wake up and as part of my morning routine is I'll put these things in for 10 minutes.
Yep. Welcome to this week's episode of Fit for Fifo. This week we've got Jack, the electrical engineer, also our first white collar worker.
Privilege, thank you.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no worries, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, just so you know, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you want to keep up to date with everything, make sure you subscribe and follow us all across those different platforms. Also, if you have any recommendations for future interviews, people that we should interview, please feel free to contact us anyway. First up, the beer review.
Beer review. I got some Young Henrys on the way over.
Did.
As requested by Jason.
Yep.
So,
beer.
have a look at these suckers.
I've never actually had them before.
Neither.
So, Young Henry's Newtowner Australian Pale Ale. Serve the people. So, actually my housemate recommended these. Apparently they're vegan friendly.
Vegan friendly, that's right. That's what the guy at the bottle said as well. Should have done a cheers.
Oh shit.
Wait, she's pretty fruity.
Yeah, it's not too bad. What would you say it's similar to?
Well, I'd say like 150 lashes, James Squire.
Yeah, but just not as intense. Eh? It's like
not as bitey.
Yeah.
It's good though.
Also, probably not a bad summer beer.
I reckon that'd be good in Byron as well. It's kind of, vegan. Everyone in Byron is kind of in touch with nature and vegan.
Well, that's actually why I got it.
Vegetarian and in that kind of space. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, not too bad. And what was the price? How much is it, mate?
So $18 for a 6-pack. And I was just telling Jason before that the bloke who I bought them from at the Bottle-O, the guy working there, said that was a great price for a 6-pack of craft beer. So yeah, go out and get yourselves a bargain.
Yep. I'm shouting too. I'll fix him up.
Bloody better.
Just picked him up on the way through. So
yeah, sweet.
Yeah. That's they're not too bad. I reckon. Value wise, they seem okay.
Pretty good, yeah.
Vegan beer, but how's what's the difference between a vegan and non-vegan beer?
Well, I guess so. Anything in terms of production and products that are put into it, no animals are harmed. It doesn't involve any kind of animal product or whatever. Because jelly is actually made from something out of like horse hooves, so that's a non-vegan product, but I guess this is.
Engineer. All right, so straight into it, our next segment, which we've had on the last 2 episodes, is Stalk Book. Jack is...
no idea what this is.
Stalk Book is. So basically, this is just about getting to know you.
Oh, yeah, cool.
So when I dug onto your Facebook...
Oh, did ya?
Took a few photos.
One. Yeah, cool, man.
Just want to find out the story behind them.
Stalk Book.
So...
that's a cracker, mate. What a good photo. Right, so back when I was in my late teens and early 20s, me and the boys in Perth, I'm originally from Perth, by the way, live in Byron now.
Yeah.
But me and the boys used to go to Bali on a regular basis.
Right.
Every November-ish, when schoolies were on, that kind of stuff. So we had a bit of a tradition, and we'd go into Bali, cut loose for a week, have lots of beers and drinks, all of that. And this was at one of the villas that we were staying at. We were just playing a game, see what kind of things you could fit in. And I was a pretty small guy, compared to the rest of the guys. They're all big gym junkies and stuff, and I was fitting in everything, man. Cupboards, fridges, the whole lot. I'd say I was probably about 12 beers deep then. So.
Yeah, right. No, you're very snug in there.
Probably about 20 years old, I reckon.
Oh, yeah? Did you just have aircon there where you were staying? Or?
Just a ceiling fan, man. You can probably tell by I'm still sweating in the fridge. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I was curious to know what that story was behind that one. So, did you used to get over to Bali while you were doing Fifo, or was this just...
This was before I was doing Fifo. This was actually when I was still at university, studying that. So, bit of a tradition, as I said, every November. But, probably went 7 years in a row.
Okay.
Some good times with the boys, for sure.
Nice. All right, next one. This one.
Skydiving, yes.
Did you take the photo, or was that you?
No, that was... I couldn't have taken the photo, could I?
Well, is that you upside down?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me.
I couldn't tell. So.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That is me. Yeah. So the guy taking the photo forget his name, but he was my coach for that jump. We're doing a 2-way, head down.
Right.
And it was at a drop zone.
So you're a skydiver?
Yeah, used to be.
Okay.
I don't skydive anymore, but yeah, that was over in the States on an awesome epic skydiving trip that I did.
Yeah, sweet.
Super fun, man.
Yeah, it looks pretty intense. So is that like, what are you doing, like upside down?
Yeah, so that's called head down. So if this is the Earth, we're flying vertically with our head down to get heaps of speed.
Okay.
You can get up to about 400 k's an hour going head down.
Yeah, right.
But it's super hard because you're very unstable. You're going really fast, but yeah, mega fun.
And how come you no longer skydiving?
I just kind of grew out of it. Hey, like I bought a house and was putting a lot of energy into that, doing renovations, still doing fly in, fly out. Got into snowboarding and stuff as well, and so other fun things, rock climbing too.
Yeah.
And I've just found that I didn't jump for 18 months, so decided to sell the rig and try some new stuff.
Nice. And you still doing some skydiving when you were doing fly in, fly out?
Yeah, actually, I used to jump every R&R. Like when I was living in Perth, I'd drive up to Jurien Bay, did a fair few jumps there, and then down at Byron Bay down the road, some jumps at the droppy there. And yeah.
Bit of contrast in working like quiet and firefighting, jumping out of the plane.
You know, actually, there was a lot of fly in, fly out guys who did skydiving because to skydive, you actually need a lot of money to invest into the sport to start off with.
Gotcha.
Rig is super expensive, the courses are super expensive, and so, you know, fly in, fly out, make a fair bit of coin, so it actually attracted a few Fifo workers.
What's the setup cost to get into that?
The course alone, like the AFF course they call it, it's like a 7-jump course to get your license. It's about $2,000. Yep. And then all the gear on top of that, you know, you've got parachute, your helmet, altimeters, jumpsuits, wingsuits, if you want to get into that stuff as well. Like there's heaps, man. So it costs, you know, thousands of dollars for all the gear. Yeah. And then jumping, you know, every jump you do is like $45 for a jump. Okay. Apart from in America, there's a lot cheaper drop zones there too.
Oh, I see. Yeah. And what about companies? Like, when you apply for a job or anything, does that ever cause any issues at all? Do they ask you that? And is it like...
It's actually good sometimes, you know, because when you go for jobs and they know that you have extracurricular activities that you really enjoy and you're passionate about, they usually think that's a good sign because, you know, you're healthy mental capacity or you do things outside of work.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's been actually good conversation starter as well, for sure.
For sure. Nice. Alrighty, so...
What else have we got on Stalk Book?
That's it for Stalk Book, mate. Cool. Yeah, I sort of had a bit of a dig, but it was most of the time you were jumping
that's good. There was probably a lot of worse things you could have picked out of the photos on there, so you let me off easy.
Just so I keep it PG. So let's hear about your Fifo experience, mate.
No worries. So yeah, I've been doing Fifo for about 6 years now.
Okay.
So after graduating from uni, did a Bachelor's of Electrical Engineering, and then just got straight into it pretty much. Right. So started working for a company called Monadelphous. Not sure if you've heard of them.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Pretty prevalent in the mining industry and fly and flight industry. They're a big construction contractor. So yeah, I started working for them straight away. And the first job I got on was a little oil and gas job out in Roma in Queensland.
Yep.
And that kind of set the tone for my career. So since then I've just been doing oil and gas jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, just hopping around them.
Yeah. And jumping from, or what's the process going from university to jumping into your first Fifo gig? Like, do you have to do placement or anything like that, or how does that work?
I was pretty lucky in that respect because while I was still at university, you have to do a thing called undergraduate work or a vacation work program.
Okay.
So basically, it's 12 weeks of like practical experience, and to graduate, you have to do that, and your company signs off on it.
Oh, I see.
So once I did that, I kind of had my foot in the door for a graduate role.
Right.
I spoke to the company and was like, look, I really liked working for you. I'm going to graduate in 6 months. Can you sign me up for the graduate program? And yeah, just kind of rolled on into it.
Okay. And do you get paid before that when you're working for them?
Yeah. So even in undergraduate work, I still got money. Wasn't great money, but you know, it's still, you got to start somewhere, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
Start on undergraduate wage, and then get your degree, and then just rolled on into it.
Yeah. And is it hard to get a job in Fifo, like with your experience or your qualification?
In my experiences, I've never really had an issue getting a job because I was lucky enough to get that experience with that company straight out of uni.
Oh, I see.
So once I got that graduate program, that was 3 years work, right? So having that 3 years work just really set the tone for the rest of my career. So I was pretty fortunate.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And how long was your degree?
4 years.
4 years.
4 year degree. Yeah, I think it's actually 5 years now. it used to be 1 year of general engineering and 3 years of specialist engineering, so electrical.
Oh, yeah.
But now it's 2 years of general engineering and 3 years of specialist. So whether you're doing, electrical engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical, or whatever.
Yeah. And did you enjoy the university side of things?
Yes and no. There was like good parts of it and bad parts of it, The good parts were the tab with the boys on Friday afternoon, but the exams, man, and the late night study sessions in the computer labs, we'd be there till 3 a.m, 4 a.m. sometimes, cramming before exams. But look, I definitely wouldn't go back to study again if I had the choice. Pretty happy being in the workforce.
And what about, did you have mates that were doing trades while you were doing that?
Actually, yeah, most of my friends after high school went and did trades straight away.
Okay.
Got their apprenticeships and started earning coin, so it was interesting to see them start making a buck straight away while I was spending my money studying, at just different stages in your life.
Yeah. Did you ever get to any points where you considered jumping into a trade or?
Well, yeah, actually I did 2 years of my degree and then I deferred for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And I started building dongers for a little bit actually.
Yep.
But I'm a white collar, so I was no good with my hands, so that didn't really last very long.
Okay.
It was probably a 2-month gig.
Right.
And then, back into uni after that.
Yeah, right. And did you have intentions of, maybe jumping into that full time? Was it just, give that a go?
No, it was just, having a bit of a break from uni,
yeah.
Getting a few extra dollars here and there, giving it a crack. But I've always thought it would be good to get my Sparky apprenticeship just to complement electrical engineering.
Yeah.
And I know that when I was at uni, there was a lot of guys who they were Sparkies before they actually did their electrical engineering degree, and they blitzed it, man.
Right.
They got really good grades because they had that background knowledge and the practical experience.
Yeah, right. That's actually something I was going to ask you about was the practical experience, and I was going to say that 6 months that you did you find that helped you at all?
Building dongers? Yeah, for sure.
Just
learning how things are put together, helps you, and it actually helped me relate to the blue collar guys a bit more. You can understand the way they work and the stuff they do. So
yeah. Oh, cool. That's good. And with, I suppose, your experience and stuff, what's the difference between what you do and what an electrician does, for instance?
So a lot of what I do is obviously office based, but I suppose the biggest difference would be, you're having regular meetings with the client, with the contractors, with colleagues and things like that, where you sit down at a table and you talk about the progress of how the project's going. You talk about things that you can do better, whereas blue collars is more physical, on the job, getting your hands dirty.
Yeah.
White collars more reporting, preparation, meetings, things like that.
Okay. And do you spend much time in the field?
Probably, I think it's different nowadays because I'm in maintenance. In the construction days, I used to spend about 50-50.
Oh, yeah.
So 5 hours a day out in the field, 5 hours a day in the office.
Right.
But now it's a bit more office-based.
Okay, yeah. And how do you find the interaction between yourself and tradesmen and stuff? Or?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, good. I think it's important as well that the white-collar guys do get along with the tradesmen. You don't want that divide.
Yep.
If you can get along with them, they'll respect you a lot and you can actually ask them for favours and vice versa. They won't feel shy to come into the office and ask for things as well. So.
Yeah, right. So working as a tradesman myself out in the field, there's a bit of banter thrown around about engineers not being practical and whatnot. Is much of that goes on inside the office?
Oh, for sure, man. There's heaps, We hear it all the time. Oh, you bloody pen pushers, you don't know what you're doing in there with all your theory and your calculations. We're the ones that run the cables and do the terminations. But that's why it's so important to have that good rapport with them,
Yeah.
Then there is none of that rubbish, It's just we're all one team, we work on it together, and there's a lot more understanding between the blue and the white collar.
Yeah.
But it's all a bit of banter, it's a bit of fun. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's important in any part of the industry to have that harmony between different people. As soon as you see a divide or something, that's when things start, morale starts going down, people start,
definitely
picking things apart and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
it's important to keep that good connection, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't want that divide between the blue and the white collar.
Yeah, exactly. Now, in your field of work, foreign workers is, I suppose, quite prevalent. It's pretty well known that there's a lot of offshore or overseas workers coming and working in the industry as engineers. Now, I don't know too much about it. I hear a lot of guys, not happy about it. But how do you feel? How does that impact your job?
It hasn't affected me personally at all, but I can say in an engineering space, there are a lot of foreign workers, and I don't see a problem with it at all. As long as you can do your job competently, you can communicate with everyone like effectively. That's the most important thing.
Yep.
It's actually, I felt a little bit sorry for a few of my colleagues or peers in university, you know, because they were foreign and they got really good grades. They were super studious, very smart, but they found it hard to get into the workforce because they didn't have those communication skills.
Yeah, right.
So going into interviews and things like that, they were just on the back foot, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And a lot of them didn't get jobs.
So they come to Australia to study, do they as well?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's right. Come to Australia to study, get the degree, and then it's a lot harder for foreign students to get jobs in the workforce.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So in that respect, you know, being Caucasian and you know, just being able to communicate and hold a conversation in an interview definitely goes a long way.
Huge, yeah. I've found working in the field with like engineers from different countries, foreign engineers and stuff, it's never really been a problem. Like, I mean, sometimes, like you say, there's communication issues with radios and stuff, though generally speaking, like, they're always accepted, like, on the site. Even, like, some of the guys who, in the crew part, they'll talk, you know, talk, and they'll be putting a bit of shit on them being here or whatever, but then when they're working alongside of them, usually, like,
it's fine.
They're fine, you know, like,
it's fine.
best mates with them.
It's fine.
Is that similar in the office?
For sure, man. I've actually got a process engineer, Darren, that I work with closely. Aussie Daz, we call him. He's Chinese.
Right.
But he loves it, you know. He pulls out all the Australian slang and, like, you know, like rips into the Australian boys and they rip back into him. And and he's like, you know, oh, you don't understand me because my Chinglish and all this stuff, you know. But it's just a laugh, you know. And because he can take that and give it back, like, it's all good. And it's good working with him.
Yeah. And have you ever noticed any difference in quality of work, or is that just comes down to individual?
Nah, not at all. Sometimes it's a bit hard to get a message across, but you get there eventually, and the quality of work's usually on par as well.
And has there been, like, I don't know too much about wages in, like, you know, white collar working and stuff, but has there been any sort of impact that you know of, or bothers you? Or?
My wages personally, so as an undergraduate and graduate engineer, you start off on very bad wages. You know, like I was doing 3 weeks on, 1 week off rosters, and it was sub 100 grand a year. You know, it's like poor wages for fly in, fly out. And I remember starting out being on that wage and then hearing what the Sparkies would earn, and it's almost a little bit frustrating, you know, because the amount that they're earning is like more than double what I'm earning, and I went to uni for it. But that being said, Sparkies have to go and do their apprenticeship for 4 years as well, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get out of your graduate program, so to speak, with the company, that's when you start actually getting a big increase in your wages.
Right, get a bit of experience under your belt.
Yeah, that's it.
And does that come down like to just years of experience, or do you have to do extra courses outside of work? Or?
Not really courses, years definitely. You know, you get 3 years under your belt, finish the graduate program, you're about due for a raise. And also switching companies is a big way to get a pay rise. Because if you sit with the same company for a long time, you're only ever going to get small incremental like pay rises. Whereas if you jump from one company to another, you usually get a big pay rise. Well, that's how it works for white collars anyway. I'm not sure. With blue collars, you usually have the EVA and things like that.
Yeah, it's all pretty set. I suppose once you start getting into, when you do like extra training, like if you're at Sparky, if you go into instrumentation, you sort of
Cert 4,
to make some more cash.
It's a few extra dollars an hour.
Cert 3 over in Queensland, I think it's the same as Cert 4 over in WA.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, a bit of a mix-up. Now, working as an electrical engineer, how could you explain if you were to explain to like a high school student exactly what you do, like summarise it?
Tough one,
hey?
hey?
Say what you do when someone said
engineers, you know, almost an all-rounder. We kind of get thrown jobs from all aspects of the project, but you know, typical day-to-day would be progress reports, tracking completion status. You know, how many meters of cable have been pulled in today, how many terminations were done, how many junction boxes were installed, that kind of stuff. Tracking all of that. We do a lot of technical queries, TQs. So say there's an issue in the field where you're running a cable to a junction box and it's not where it should be. We go back and we summarise the issue in a technical query, we send it to the client, propose a solution, and we deal with the client to get that solution sorted, basically. So TQs, progress reports, meetings with the client, lots of coffees, that kind of stuff.
And that's construction sort of stuff, is it?
Construction stuff, yeah, that's right. So I'm doing more maintenance, reliability engineering at the moment, which is more like statutory maintenance, corrective maintenance, preventative maintenance, ensuring asset integrity, all that kind of stuff.
Right. And is it what's the pace of work like? Difference between construction and maintenance?
Big difference. Big difference. Construction's go go go. In the office, there's lots of phones ringing. There's people running around like crazy. You know, it's like full on. Maintenance is a lot more chilled out. People are like, you know, you take your time. Just, you know, don't rush anything. You know, do it safely. Yeah. So there's definitely a big difference in that respect. Yeah.
Right. And do you notice, is there much difference in like the safety? Like, is there more incidents do you find in construction?
They definitely push safety hard on all the jobs that I've been on.
Yeah.
I've been on oil and gas, you know, and I'm not sure if it's different in iron ore and coal and stuff like that, but in oil and gas, it's just safety is paramount. It's number one. You probably know what that's like, or all the jobs that you've worked on.
Yeah, it gets drilled into you, definitely. And what would you say some of your career highlights would be?
Career highlights?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've worked on the Itchy's job in Darwin. I've worked on Wheatstone LNG, Gorgon, Barrow Island LNG. They're three of the biggest LNG projects in Australia, so that's pretty cool. Right. I think Barrow Island is the biggest single resource project in Australia, so pretty cool to be a part of something like that.
And what's your thoughts on or feeling towards Barrow Island? Have you like, had a good experience
It's
there?
been great for me, you know. I'm working there at the moment doing a 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off roster, so can't complain with that. I've enjoyed my time at Barrow, hey.
You got to say that, right? I've heard
you
mixed
been there,
reviews.
or?
No, I've never been there, but I've heard mixed reviews. Like I was considering it at one stage, but then I didn't need to. But I've heard some people like can't stand the joint, and other people have just been like, "Yeah, it's good, it's great."
I reckon it's totally what you make it. You know, there's always two sides to the coin and two different ways to look at it. If you go there with bad attitude, that's just going to manifest. But if you go there, you know, I'm going to do a positive lifestyle, work hard, enjoy my time here. You can make it that way for sure.
What's your time look like when you're in camp, when you're not at work? What do you get up to?
So before work, I have a pretty strict routine of what I do in the morning. I like to get up on a good note, go through that routine and set the day off like, you know, on a good note.
Right.
Work 12 hours, get back to work. I'll usually do straight away, jump into some exercise, hit the chin-up bars outside or go to the gym, and then usually I'll go down to the weddy later, and even if I don't have a few beers, you know, just hang out with the boys, and got to be social, you know, on site just to keep that that social aspect going on.
Do you find in the wet mess, like, is there a bit of venting going on about the day?
Yeah, we try and not talk shop.
Yeah.
You know, if you talk shop at the weddy, then that's a carton, but you obviously can't buy a carton on the site, but, you know, try to avoid talking about work at all costs, you know, just talk about anything else, basically.
Yeah, and the weddy, for those who don't know, is the pub.
Is the bar, that's right, yeah. So you got the wet mess and then the mess. Mess is where you get your food, dry mess. Yeah.
They call it dry mess?
Some people do, yeah. You heard that before or not?
No, I've heard of dry camps,
Dry camp? With no alcohol?
Yeah.
I don't really drink too much on site anyway, you know. I'll have a couple of beers. Actually, last swing I probably had more beers than any other swing because there was heaps of boys demobbing from my old company.
Leaving,
leaving demobbing. So every night, you know, old Joe Bloggs is leaving, so I've got to go have beers for him, and you can't say no because I don't know if I'll ever see that bloke again.
As soon as you said that, I had more than I usually do. The first thing I was going to say is this bloke's leaving one there.
Exactly.
Pretty common. How many years did you say you've been in Fifo?
6 years now. 6 years. So straight out of university, dived into it. I've been doing 3-in-1s, 4-in-1s. I'm on 2-in-2 now, which is great.
Lifestyle friendly.
Been more lifestyle friendly. Been hopping around different projects, different rosters. But I feel like this job that I have now, this 2-in-2, happy to stay with this for a while. You know, it's totally sustainable. Good roster.
Long term, would you say, like, you'd be happy to stay there?
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Like, just switched from Monadelphous to Downer. Those are the two companies that I've worked for. And this contract that Downer has at Barrow Island is a maintenance contract that's 5 years plus one.
Okay.
So I reckon, you know, I could totally see out that 5 years, man.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, 2-in-2 is good.
Yep. And what was your reason for getting into Fifo?
I didn't really choose it, to be honest, man. Like, as soon as I came out of university and got that grad program, the company that I worked for were involved in a lot of Fifo, so that was kind of like just what I jumped into after uni, you know, and all of my working career life has been fly in, fly out, so it wasn't really a choice, kind of just fell into it, if that makes sense.
Just there on the table.
Yeah, that's right, But it's been great, you know, it's helped me like set myself up in life, a couple properties, like put a bit of coin away, so it served me well.
Good, that was going to be my next question, obviously. Most people's sort of primary reason is to get ahead in life or make some extra cash. What do you choose to do with your cash?
Yeah, so mostly, like, I've got a couple of properties now. I bought one in Byron Bay just down the road, and I've got another one on the Gold Coast that I bought with my sister.
Okay, cool.
And so at the moment, my FIFO finances are mostly put into those, you know, keeping them maintained and knocking off the mortgage as much as possible.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the plan, basically, just put a lot of money into that, but also try and have fun while I do that.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's important as well. You probably know
Yeah.
when you're working so hard away, you know, you want to still have a bit of fun, go travelling, enjoy yourself. And
yeah, you got to have that balance, It's really important. And did you have a plan before you went into, like, get some property or just invest, or what was sort of...
Yeah, so good opportunity arose for me to buy this place in Byron.
Right.
I didn't really have a plan at the time.
Okay.
It just kind of popped up. Some friends said, look, we're actually going to buy this property. Would you like to jump in with us?
Cool.
So I jumped in with them and got that property, and then I kind of developed a plan from there,
Cool.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so I didn't have one beforehand.
Right.
Just kind of worked it out as I went.
Yeah. And would you say having a plan is pretty important when you're working in FIFO?
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely. Otherwise, you're kind of just blindly going through this, you know, this work without any goal in mind. So to have a goal and a plan, super important. Whether it's a financial goal or even like fitness goals, you know, like I'm going to go into this swing and do this many chin-ups, or like, you know, try and squat this weight or something like that. You know, even, financial goals and fitness goals definitely helped me.
Right, makes your time a bit easier, I suppose.
Yeah, and you can say, like, you know, I'm not just going there and making money. Like, I'm doing more than that as well. You know, keeping fit and getting ahead in life.
What's the gyms like out at Barrow?
Gyms are okay. I go to the outdoor ones. They've got outdoor chin-up bars and push-up stations and stuff like that. I do a lot of bodyweight stuff, so I hit those up a fair bit.
So that helps.
Yeah. What about your ones? Any good?
I've always had pretty good experience, like in all the camps I've stayed in with gyms. Like, I think the worst I ever had was working in a rig camp, and it was just a
offshore?
No, just like onshore, just drilling rigs.
Yeah, cool.
They're just like, the gym was just a container with a bench in it and
sounds
a few
pretty rough.
homemade weights and stuff. But yeah, it still did the trick, and it's actually
cool.
a beautiful area. So I was doing a lot of running at the time.
Yeah, nice.
Which was nice. Yeah.
I stayed at a Camp Wheatstone, LNG.
Okay.
And the gym there was amazing. They had 3 gyms actually, 2 in the CV, the Construction Village, and 1 at CVE, Construction Village Expansion.
Right.
And it was this massive warehouse with all this old school equipment, huge gym, and it was like state of the art, man.
Nice.
Yeah. So they do facilitate the sports equipment like pretty well, I feel.
Yeah, those bigger construction jobs have pretty good setups.
Totally.
Curtis Island, actually, I think I did a tour on one of the episodes of like the whole camp, pretty much.
Yeah, cool.
And there was I think it was 5 gyms.
5 gyms,
Yeah,
far
5.
out, man.
Yeah, like there was you name it, they had it. It was a really good setup. Yeah.
I never got out to Curtis Island. That was one of the other major LNG projects in Australia.
Yeah,
but,
it was a good job.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I think I was a bit too young for that one. I was just kind of getting into the industry then, when that was booming.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, are you single currently?
Yes, single.
And have you been in relationships while balancing FIFO?
Not really, hey, to be honest. I tried out a few relationships at the start of my FIFO career, and they didn't work out too well. And I think I made the assumption that it was going to be too hard to be in a relationship while working FIFO.
Yeah.
So I kind of put up a bit of a wall and just said, I'm not going to bother with relationships until I get out of FIFO.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of my experience with it. And I think that comes down to, if you're going to be working fly in, fly out, you want to have a good foundation for your relationship before you get into it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to have that when you're working fly in, fly out.
To build that when you're sort of on and off.
Yeah, totally, for sure.
Yeah.
Because those experiences that I had, you know, you're with someone and it's so intense when you're there with your R&R. You know, you want to spend a lot of time together, you want to hang out lots, knowing that you're going to have to go back to work soon. And then you go back to work and it kind of fades away. And then when you come back again, you kind of have to start from scratch. It's just this cycle that goes around.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And how did you find, like, in those couple of relationships or girls you'd met, how did they sort of respond or react to you?
I think it was, they didn't like it, to be honest. You know, like,
fair enough.
Yeah, totally fair enough. You know, you go back and it's hard for them because they're trying to, you know, keep it up by talking to you on the phone and texting and stuff like that. And it's not easy for them, you know, like, and I guess some of them it was just couldn't handle it and it was too hard. So, yeah.
Got any tips for guys that are doing it that are keen to try and get in a relationship? Or?
Any tips? Yeah, for sure. You know, like definitely keep the communication open is one. Try and make as many calls as you can and keep in regular contact and maybe having a plan as well. You know, like if you're getting into a relationship with someone when you're FIFO, have a plan and be like, all right, maybe in 3 months or 6 months, you know, we'll get back in touch and see whether this FIFO thing is working for us as a couple or whether it's not.
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing I've stressed a lot on this whole program is like being transparent and also understanding that it might you know work for you, but not necessarily your partner, and to be open and understanding to that.
Totally.
Yeah, things can get pretty difficult, I think.
Yeah, and it's hard for you being on site away from them, but it's also hard for them having you away on site.
Yeah,
so, yeah, it's hard for both people, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And online dating and Tinder and whatnot, it's pretty common in FIFO, I suppose.
Yeah, especially when you're out on a project with 8,000 blokes, you know, and 10 girls. Get on Tinder and there's one chick there. But
yeah. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't really get around Tinder and all that stuff too much, man. To be honest, like I'd rather just meet someone the old-fashioned way, you know, in person and that. But
yeah. And is it many of your workmates had much luck with it? Or have you seen much like finding relationships?
Nah, you know, not really. Not with Tinder and stuff like that. But I do feel for the guys that are in relationships with families and young kids and when they're working FIFO, you know. That would be a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know how they feel, you know, but I imagine it'd be super tough.
Yeah, don't doubt it at all. It'd be very difficult. So another segment that I've added is a few questions out of Tim Ferriss's book, Tribe of Mentors.
Yeah, I actually got that book, man. Halfway through reading it.
Yeah, right. So
it's a good book.
It's good?
Yeah, really good, man. I love those personal development books, and Tim Ferriss is a really smart guy and got some great podcasts and some really good tips on life. So,
yeah. All right, so the first question, a failure that's set you up for success in the future.
Failure that has set me up for success. Well, I can tell you about a time where I did something wrong while I was working Fifo that I learnt from. So I guess that's kind of similar in terms of it was a failure and then I learnt from it, you know.
Right.
When I was on my first job, I was purchasing some 3-core and 3 earth Varilex cable. It's this special type of cable for VSDs, and it's super expensive. And my boss said, "Jack, I need you to go purchase this."
So for those who don't know, it's just electrical cable?
Electrical cable, yep, that's it. So I'm tasked to go purchase this special electrical cable, and it's about $40,000 worth of cable, right? And I went and I found this contractor that could sell it to me for 30 grand, but it was from an unapproved supplier, and I didn't know that you have to find cable from, you know, like Prismium, Olex, or the special brands, you know, all the ones that are approved.
Yeah.
So I bought this $30,000 drum of cable that wasn't approved, got to site, turns out we couldn't even install it. I had to send it back at a 50% restocking fee, so I lost the company $15,000.
Like that.
But, you know, in hindsight, it was a good lesson. My managers weren't too pissed off about it. Never made that mistake again. So whenever I was doing purchasing in the future, always made sure to make sure it's from an approved supplier, and
double check.
Definitely learned my lesson on that one.
Yeah. That's pretty a good one, isn't it? I suppose it sounds pretty significant, but in the scheme of things on those projects, there's a lot more money wasted.
For sure, $80 billion jobs, you know, stuff like that.
That's huge.
Peanuts.
The other good thing about that on your side is it wasn't your money. Learning from someone else.
That's right, and the bosses they were pretty understanding, you know, they weren't too fussed about it, and made sure, didn't do that one again.
Did it again, yeah, right. So next question, when you're feeling overwhelmed or lost focus, what do you do?
When I'm overwhelmed or lost focus, I definitely think about my breathing.
Okay.
Do a lot of yoga and things like that in the morning, and when you get overwhelmed at work, you just deep breaths, you know, control your breathing, deep breaths in, deep breaths out, get outside, get some fresh air, get moving, you know, move your muscles, do some push-ups, do some squats. I do them at my desk every day just to get the blood flowing, you know, and when you get tense and things are getting a bit too much, I find, breathing and movement, for sure.
Yeah, nice. That's a good one. I think, exercise is just so underrated for issues, isn't it? Like personal problems.
Yeah, definitely, man, for sure.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Now, a purchase of $100 or less that's had the biggest impact on your life.
It wasn't $100. It was a little bit more.
Okay.
But there's
How much
this.
would it be?
I think it was $200.
All right.
You reckon that'll do?
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool. It's called Human Charger. So it's like earbuds that you put in your ear, and it emits light into the light receiving receptors in your brain.
Yeah, right.
So in the morning at work, like I'll wake up, and as part of my morning routine is I'll put these things in for 10 minutes. And it's because, you know, when you're working on site, when we wake up, it's 3 a.m, 4 a.m, super dark, and you don't really get that much vitamin D or sunlight. So these things just emit light into your brain, and kind of wakes you up, gets you like vibrant for the day. And I found them to be really useful, man. Ever since I started using them, I found my mornings are a lot more productive, and carries through to the rest of the day as well.
Wow, I've never heard of them.
I'll send you a link to them. They were recommended in this personal development book that I read recently. So.
Okay. Are they scientifically proven?
Yeah. There's heaps of studies that back it. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Send you a link.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll put a link in the comments in the video.
What's the name of them?
Human Charger.
Human Charger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
It just looks like a little MP3 player, and then obviously cords coming out and just earbuds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one. Have you got any books that you'd recommend? Maybe ones that have helped you in Fifo, or maybe just
lots of personal development books. Hey, I find them good. That Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss is great. Yeah, for sure. That other one that I'm reading by Aubrey Marcus is called Own the Day. That's a really good one. Right. Put a link in the description for that one too.
Yeah. I will. Yeah. And do you balance your books out with anything else, or do you always read personal development?
Yeah, mostly just personal development.
Yeah.
I'm not a big reader, to be honest. I've probably got about 15 books that I've read in my lifetime, and most of them are personal development. And then, a few other random ones.
Right.
What about yourself?
I mix it up. A lot of biographies also.
Yeah,
I like to read about people. Nice. Yeah. I find, reading about stories of people that have had a hard life, you know, or a shit situation or excelled, I think sometimes helps with giving you a bit of contrast in your life sometimes when you might feel like you've had a bad day or a bad week or a bad year, and you read a story about some bloke that's, I don't know, some books about, there's one book in particular actually, about a refugee who he was captured as a boy soldier, and he spent from age 7 for a couple of years. He was kept captured and marched around parts of Africa fighting wars as a child soldier.
Yeah, right.
And then he ended up in a refugee camp and then was brought to Australia actually. And then he learnt to read and write in Australia.
Wow.
Went
kind
and studied.
of puts it in perspective, like how good we have it here, you know.
Exactly, yeah. And then he ended up becoming a solicitor in Australia. It's one it's a really good book. It's called Songs of a War Boy.
I've heard of it. Yeah. Haven't read it, but cool.
Yeah, I highly recommend
Give it a crack.
If you're having a bad time in your job, give it a read. So that's pretty much it, man. Have you got any other tips or things you could recommend to guys?
Other tips? Like I said, that morning routine for me is a big one, you know, getting up, having a routine, going through that every day, and then your whole day is going to be so much better because you get it off to a good start. For me, that's a huge big one. Yeah. Other tips, finances, you know, track your finances, know when to expect your money, when it's going to come in, know your incomings, your outgoings. Being an engineer, you know, love spreadsheets. Got my finance spreadsheets all sorted with my incomings, my outgoings, and I think that's a big one because I mean you're there to make money. At the end of the day, that's a big part of it. So
understanding cash flow helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
And do you feel that if you had to go back to a normal job, you'd be like in the city, you'd be okay?
In the city, I'd be okay for sure. You know, if I wanted to get a job in Perth, Sydney, Brisbane, whatever, no dramas, but probably not in Byron. There's not a lot of engineering gigs going around here, that's for sure. Probably have to start making coffees or something like that.
Yeah, quite the opposite, eh? Cool. So finally, got a shirt for you, mate.
Beauty.
The Fit for Fifo shirt.
Legend. Thanks a lot, mate. I'll be donning that in the Weddy for sure.
Yep. Cool, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Legend.
Cheers.